Hello and welcome. I'm Tracey Atkins on location in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, to introduce what will arguably be one of the most extraordinary homes to come to the real estate market in recent times, not just here in the United States, but indeed anywhere in the world. At the foothills of the Grand Teton National Park and adjacent to Jackson Hole's famous ski slopes is the home you can see behind me, which is known in these parts as the Creamery, a name that speaks to an incredible journey that started on the windswept plains of Montana and ended here in what must be considered the perfect embodiment of architectural brilliance and unbridled passion.
That was a clip put on by our guest, Tracey Atkins of Goldeneye Media. Goldeneye Media is responsible for upping the bar on marketing campaigns of high-end and luxury real estate. Welcome and thank you for being here.
Thanks. It is my absolute pleasure in every way. First of all, to be on this show, because I'm a fan. I watch it regularly. It's fantastic.
Thank you.
And then to be in Aspen. What a location.
Mm-hmm. Is this your first trip to Aspen?
My first. It will definitely not be my last, Michelle and Gus. I can tell you, not only have you turned on the most stunning location, but the most incredible weather. Mm-hmm. We brought a bit of Aussie sunshine with us. So
from down under. Absolutely.
Yeah. 3 feet of snow and then 5 days of sunshine.
Oh, absolutely. You know, I saw some people skiing yesterday with their tops off. It was guys, by the way, I might say.
After a visit to Cloud Nine, probably.
Yeah, it was. And I thought, I feel like I'm home in Australia. Everybody's sunbaking. I called it snow baking. It's great.
Yeah, that is great.
What a great clip we just saw of
Thank
you
you.
in action.
Thank you.
Unbelievable. You know, this is real estate marketing all grown up, and it's really kind of coming into its prime. Can you tell us how you came to cater to this very exclusive market niche?
Well, we started to think about it, Gus and Michelle, about the power of video, because what was happening is we can see that people love to hit a play button right now, and you know, digital marketing is really evolving, and we said video has this incredible ability to engage at a different level, and I don't think it should be replacing traditional real estate marketing, but it probably should be adding to it, because pictures can tell you something. You can see a lot with a picture, and you can read copy, you can do all that. What we wanted to do was tell a story. We wanted people to start falling in love with houses. So we said, what if we can make people start to understand what would my life be like if I lived there? And that's the one thing that I think the rest of real estate marketing can't do. And I think you're not using film and video well enough if you're not doing that. Mm-hmm. Because if it's just rolling pictures and music, then it's not a lot more than a brochure. Mm-hmm. So we said, let's start to tell the story of the houses. And some houses like the Creamery, I mean, that was incredible.
It was.
That property, it had a history to it. It had been relocated from Montana and built. There was such a history to it. We had a passionate architect. The imagery was beautiful. And we said, let's let people see and understand that. And it worked really well in that case.
It did.
It was powerful.
The properties that you feature cater to an international buyer, it seems.
Yeah.
How are you growing your international influence?
The power of video with these videos is that we can share them really quickly and easily. And one of the great things, and it's the case of the Creamery is a great example. Often with high-end property, you've got vendors and owners that say, look, I don't want this splashed around the world. We're private people. I want to see if you can do this quietly for us. So we'll create a film, we'll go there, we'll shoot this beautiful film, and then there is the power to share it with as few people as you want. Now, in the case of the Creamery, only 5 people were shown that film. One of them fell in love instantly and said, I want it, I'll pay top dollar. I don't want anyone else to see that film anymore. I'll have it today.
That's amazing.
And that's the power of it. You know, a lot of people think you have to make a real estate film, chuck it up on YouTube and hope that as many people as possible see it. But sometimes it's the power. And when you're dealing in markets like Aspen, top-end property,
sure the right people see it.
Exactly. It's only a few eyeballs that matter. And that's the power of these films.
Yeah.
You know what, let's take another look at the campaign. I think we have another little video shot of the Creamery since you were just talking about it. So let's have a look at that.
If ever there was any doubt that our greatest architect will always be Mother Nature, then it's firmly dismissed with a visit to Jackson Hole, Wyoming. It is quite simply God's own country, a place for everything and everything in its place. It would seem almost impossible to conceive that any man-made structure could capture attention or indeed admiration in this dramatic environment, and yet there is one that has, a magnificent family retreat whose inspirational story began more than a decade ago in a very different part of the world.
The two samples we've seen have been properties in the U.S., but you've been engaged all over the world. What types of properties typically command your service?
Generally, they're the top-end properties because people with properties like that, as you understand here, are looking for a different solution. They're wanting people to understand what's gone into those houses. Generally, they've got a story, whether or not it's a personal story, whether it's a story of history, heritage, incredible architecture. They want people to understand that it's special real estate. So they get us in. We just did an extraordinary one very recently in Pebble Cove, which it was a property that when you looked at it, you knew that it was unusual. But once we got to tell the story of, he'd sourced pieces from around the world, from artisans. He'd sent his builders to live in France for 2 years to understand French architecture.
Wow.
And so we got to tell that story. And so it's often people that are saying, look, I want the market to engage with my property. I want to get their hearts and I want them to fall in love and understand. And often for the owners, it's a keepsake for them. They say, if we do sell, and then they usually do, we've got something that reminds us of what this did. It's a heritage piece, yeah. So it's great.
So your videos are for buyers and sellers.
It is. Often, what the sellers see the videos. Often, the case of the one in Pebble Beach, he cried when he saw it. He said, I didn't realise how beautiful my house. You've actually torn my own heart. I actually don't want to sell it now, but that's it. It's a great keepsake, often for great generations in their own family to understand that this legacy house has passed on, but it was a great property.
And the properties that you feature often appeal to international buyers. And we were talking prior to the interview about some of the methods that you have enlisted to capture, say, Chinese buyers and get into the Chinese market.
Absolutely. Well, in Australia in particular, we have a very, very captive Chinese audience. High-end Chinese buyers love our real estate. So China it's known as the Great Firewall of China. Getting content into China is difficult. I mean, you can't just upload into YouTube. There's no YouTube, there's no Facebook. All the traditional methods aren't going to work in China. So we actually have an in-house Chinese digital team in our company. Everything that we produce is replicated in Chinese, and they run the accounts in China so that things are seen in China and they're engaging directly. Because I think there's a misunderstanding. People say, well, I sent it to someone in China, but they don't realise you can't press a play button on a YouTube video in China. So we do very much ensure that we're engaging on the social media and media channels over there.
That was a brilliant play.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. And I believe, I don't know what's happening here in Aspen, but Chinese buyers love trophy real estate. And I can see that. I'd imagine that, it'll be a big, strong market as time goes by here in Aspen, for sure.
Again, you're on the cutting edge of marketing. Incredible. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's just a pleasure to get an inside look at some of these extraordinary properties and your incredible work. So we look forward to keeping in touch with you.
Oh, look, you absolutely will. I'll be back here in a heartbeat, I'm telling you. And it's been such a pleasure being a part of this show. Thank you.
We're so glad you could be with us.
I'm delighted.
Stay tuned for more Talking Dirt.